And welcome, students. We're going to be graphing some quadratics today, and we need to figure out what this thing looks like on a graph. Now, if you don't know what something looks like, you can always plot enough points, make yourself an XY chart, and plot enough points and figure out what the pattern of dots is doing. And if you plot enough points, you'll be able to figure that out, which means you could plug in a 0 and you see where that leads you. 0 squared minus 2 times 0 is a negative 3. Plug in a 1. 1 squared minus 2. So 1 minus 2 is a negative 1. Minus 3 is a negative 4. Plug in a 2. That would be 4 minus 4. So that'd be a negative 3. Oh my goodness, look how these dots are like going down and up, and I don't know. Let's see what happens at 3. That's 9 minus 6. That's a 0. I don't even know where these things are going. If I started plotting this thing, I'll erase this here in a second. 0, negative 3. Got a dot there. 1, negative 4. 2, negative 3. 3, 0. See, I'm not quite sure because that one went up. I don't know if I did something wrong or just what's going on. So it's going to be helpful to know that quadratics have a parabola shape. And it's okay if you don't know that, but you can see that parabola shape taking form here. If I plotted enough points, I would see that they all fall in this line. I could just connect the dots and then I'd be done. But you might not find that parabola shape, and you might have to figure out where in the world it is on your graph. Now, it might be a parabola shape going up. It might be a parabola shape going down. We don't really know how wide it is or how skinny it is. But it's helpful to know that quadratic equations are either like this, parabola going up, or a parabola going down. So they tell you if you'll first find the vertex, and that would be this point here, either the bottom point or the top point, then you got a good starting spot because then you can know just plot a few points on either side. A couple of other helpful points would be the Y-intercept, the X-intercept, because they're right there in your grid, and then a couple of other points just to see what the pattern of dots is doing. So we're going to do this. Let me clear this out. All right, I've written a couple little pointers here. When you go to find the vertex, you can find the X point by just doing minus b over 2a. So let's look at that. A, B, C. So A is a 1, B is a negative 2, and C is a negative 3. So for the vertex, X equals minus a negative 2 over 2 times 1. So this is X equal 1. Well, now, if I go to draw a point and X is 1, that doesn't tell me anything. I need to know what Y is. So let's go ahead and find the Y value too. So Y is just plug in the 1. So that would be 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3. Of course, I already have it over here. And this should end up negative 4. So the vertex is the point 1, negative 4. All right, so I went and got you a grid. So let's draw this point. I usually like to do this as I go because then otherwise I forget where in the world I'm at. So my vertex is at 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my vertex point. I've got him down. Step 2, find the Y-intercept. Now this is the place where X is 0. It's one of my favorite spots. Y equals 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 3 equals negative 3. The Y-intercept is the point X is 0, Y is negative 3. Let me draw that dot. Ooh. X is 0, Y is negative 3. Chunk. All right. Step number 3. This is a place where Y is 0. 0 equals X squared minus 2X minus 3. Oh, this is what we've been doing for the past, I don't know how many days. this is finding your X-intercepts. They're also called zeros. If anyone asks you to find the zeros, that's another way to put it. X is 3 or X is -1. So X-intercepts are 3, 0 and -1, 0. And I'm going to put both of those dots, 1, 2, 3, on my grid, and -1, 0. Look how beautiful and symmetric that is. And then I want to put a few more dots in there just to make sure that this is going to be correct, but I'm pretty sure it is. It's going to look like, oh, let's just do an extra dot. Let's just do one more. Let's do 4 is, I want to do one that's kind of maybe out there a little bit. Let's do f of 4. So that'd be 4 squared minus 2 times 4 minus 3. So 16 minus 8 is 8. So this is a 5. So at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that looks like it's going to happen. And you know, these things are always symmetric, so you actually have these dots here because they mirror each other about that vertex. And that's what you would do to draw a quadratic. And you're going to do a bunch of these. They're going to make you graph them over and over again. Just keep doing those same steps over and over. I'll graph a few more, and then you get to graph a few more. All right, let's look at another one. First step, find the vertex. So I need my A, B, and C. A in this case is -1, B is -2, C is 3. Step 1, find the vertex. X equals minus B, so minus a -2 over 2 times -1. This is going to happen at -1. Of course, I can't plot that point, so I need the y value. So let's figure out what f of -1 is. All right, so that would be negative a -1 squared. Ugh, that's kind of dizzy. Minus 2 times -1 plus 3. F of -1 is then going to be -1 plus 2 plus 3. So I get that this thing happens at 4. So our vertex is at the point -1, 4. Cool. Let's draw that dot. X is -1, y is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gotcha. Step 2, Y-intercept. So this means I plug in a 0 for X. So 0, 0, 0 is 3. Okay, so I have the Y-intercept is the point 0, 3. Draw another dot. X is 0. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, that means actually, since this top dot right here is the vertex, it reflects on either side. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw that dot because I know that's a point. Might as well, makes it easier on me. X-intercept 0 equals -x squared minus 2x plus 3. Oh my goodness, well, I can try factoring this one. It's going to be difficult because that negative, I think it does factor. -x and x. I know I've got a 3 and a 1, so I'm going to put a 3 here. It's got to be a plus 1, I think. So let's see, that's -x squared minus 3x. Yep. Okay, that works. So this is x equals 1 or -3. So my x-intercepts are the points 1, 0 and -3, 0. So let's put those dots down. 1, 2, 3, 0 and 1, 0. Yep, see how that's on either side of that vertex so smoothly. Ta-da. All right, let's say you wanted to plug this in on your TI-83 or 84 calculator, because we should be able to do that too and verify that this is the graph. That way it's not just kind of like, I think this is right. So let's plug this into your calculator. So you're going to push your on. Then I want you to hit your Y equals key. Your Y equals key is right underneath your screen. And then I want you to key in, use the negative key. So go to one of those Y's and key in negative x squared minus 2x plus 3. You might not know how to key in an x. If you will look on, you have a variable button that has has a few things on it. It has an X, it has a tau, and I think it has a theta on it, something like that. That's your variable button. Use that button to key in your X. So you'd hit your negative. Be sure you hit the negative, not the minus. Hit negative, hit your variable button, squared, key that in, and then what you will need to hit is your graph button. You'll see your graph button right underneath the screen. When you do that, you should get something that looks like this. All right, so we should be able to see our graph. Now let's say that we would like to look at our table of values so we can plot the points. If you will notice under your calculator screen, you'll have like, here's the screen here. You've got these buttons under here where you were pushing for the graph and whatnot. So it written in, usually in blue, depends on which calculator you have, in blue, there should be a word called table right around in here. So if you will hit the blue key that's on your calculator, or the second key, either one, it's labeled second, but it's also blue, and then hit table, or the button up here labeled table, then you will see a table of values that you could plot those points for. That's very convenient and nice to use. The calculator will do quite a few more other things too. If you want to play around with it, hit the calc button. It's also underneath your screen, and it'll calculate values, it'll calculate minimums, it'll find different things for you like minimums and maximums as well. We could do a whole lesson on the calculator. If you'd like a collaborate on how to use your calculator, I can hook mine up to my computer and we can go through different functions that you can use to verify your results and look and make sure that you have the right answers on things. And I can tell you how to push these buttons in order to graph your whatever functions that you want to, basically. All right, so this section is just on graphing. So you're going to graph a few of these, and if you need any help, you need to be sure and email me. And I'd love to have a collaborate with you if you want to go over what to do with your calculator. It's a whole lesson in itself. All right, y'all have a wonderful day. Bye now.